In this video, I'm going to explain why thinking about sex makes you a better person. Not just because you'll get better in bed, not just because it will improve your relationships, but because it literally makes you a better, happier, healthier person. And I'm going to explain the top 5 ways that sex goes hand in hand with personal performance and self-optimization. I've been a sex coach for almost a decade, and when I'm working with one of my clients one-on-one, there's always a moment. Usually it's around their 7th session when suddenly they realize that we're not talking just about sex anymore. They're like Dorothy in the Land of Oz.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Hey, I thought this was sex coaching. Why aren't we talking exclusively about my genitals? It's also around this time that my clients report amazing things happening in their lives outside of the bedroom. Like one of my clients broke every sales record at his company for 3 months after starting our work together. Another patched up his rocky relationship with his mom. Another started losing weight and improved his blood pressure. Now, how can that be? Sex is one of life's few grand unifiers. Knowing yourself sexually and being at home with your sexuality is one of the most important steps on the road to self-discovery. If you've thought about sex, if you've fantasized about it, if you've dreamt about it, then you've taken steps on the road to self-discovery. Beyond the biological aspect of it, sex is primal. It's delightful, it's delicious, it's daring. It's a whole bunch of other things that don't start with the letter D. It's also very personal, and sometimes it can feel very isolating. Now that sounds like a subject rich with personal growth opportunities to me. Under all of the personas that we put on during the day, the person who we play with our friends, our coworkers, the barista, who we really are at our core is tied very deeply to our sexual identity. And sex is an amazing tool to find out who we really are under all that noise. Sex is more than just a physical act. It is emotional, mental, even spiritual. It makes things like insecurity, jealousy, feelings of self-worth or lack thereof all come up to the surface. And because of that, expanding in your sexuality can pay off dividends everywhere else. For example, if you can be confident in the bedroom, then you can be confident in the boardroom. The amazing thing about sex is that it makes us look inward and ask ourselves who we are, why we like the things we like, how we got this way. Like, ask yourself what has shaped your views on sex. Was it religion, community, what you were taught or weren't taught in school? Was it shaped by your first sexual encounters being positive or negative? Did your parents shape the way that you view sex and sexuality? Everything about us can be excavated through the lens of intimacy. Countless psychologists agree that sex and our individual views on it have significant impact on our lives. Nina Hartley, the amazing adult film star and sex educator, has said before that sex is adult play. And it is, or at least I believe it can be. It can and should be fun and free and let you be who you always wanted to be, even if just for a finite amount of time. But on the other side of that coin, sex can force us to look at the darkest, scariest parts of our minds. The parts of us that make us go, oh my God, if anyone ever found out about this, I'd be shunned or canceled or shunned for being canceled. And don't worry, we've all got those parts, including me. Sex touches everything that we do. It motivates us to go make art, to go to war, to pick up the phone, to put down the gun. I mean, sex is wild. If anything, with sex coaching, the subject of sex is just foreplay. We talk about sex, but as one part of the whole. And as a sex coach, I want you to be happy, comfortable, and confident in all aspects of your life. Years ago, I picked up this mind-blowing truism. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And you can tell a lot about someone based on how they do life or how they do sex, especially in the sneaky, subconscious ways that we like to hide from ourselves. Now, sex is my favorite on-ramp towards the journey of a person's personal growth and development. And it's still shockingly misunderstood by so many regarding how it's tied to our happiness. It's just that for us to truly get the most out of sex, as in having better sex, being better at enjoying sex, receiving sex, giving sex, being the type of lover that leaves your partner or partners weak in the knees and giving bow-legging, soul-shaking orgasms, we all need to go on a personal journey. We've got to look into the mirror and learn about ourselves and the things that we may have avoided for longer than we can remember. Only when you're out of your comfort zone can greatness truly happen. And as a coach, I see that sex is definitely never just about sex. At the same time, sex is vital to our whole lives in ways that we don't realize. So let's take a close look at the ways that exploring and understanding our relationship with sex is a cornerstone of personal development. And just a quick note here, if you are already on your personal development journey and it doesn't explore your relationship with sex, I think you're wasting your time and money. So consider firing your life coach, or at least adding a sex coach. You can schedule a free 1-hour consultation with me or my coaches. The link is in the description below. All right, enough of that. Let's look at the 5 ways that you can use sex as a vital part of your self-growth journey. Number 1, take a look in the mirror. I have an honest question for you, and I want you to take a second and really think about your answer. Have you ever thought about why you like what you like in bed? I mean, beyond just the surface level of like, it feels good or it turns me on. Examining your sex life is a lot like looking into a mirror, but instead of seeing your reflection, you can see your ego, your insecurities, your strengths, your weaknesses, your greatest fears, and your deepest desires. Sex is more than just a mirror. It's more like Alice's looking glass. You're able to see a world of possibilities. Let me tell you about my client, Mark. The sad truth is that Mark was really only living a half life. He was shy and reserved in almost every area, but he came to me with a goal that I think anyone can relate to. He wanted to get better in the bedroom. What Mark didn't understand was that he had to dig beyond who he was on the surface to find his voice. And not just for better sex, mind you, but to unlock the person who he was meant to be all along. We worked together to overcome his people-pleasing tendencies, and he was able to find his voice in and out of the bedroom. It was like he had stepped through that looking glass. He wasn't just the shy, quiet, boring as beige wallpaper Mark. He was now a colorful, vibrant, enthusiastic Mark. The same confidence that he could finally show in between the sheets wasn't just confined to the bedroom. Every other aspect of his life, including his career, improved. And that's not a coincidence. Countless studies show a direct link between a person's sexual well-being and their overall well-being. A person's sexual health is directly linked to their mental health, their emotional health, and I think just their relationship to joy. All right, I want to say thank you to the sponsor of this video and introduce you to Joy Mode. Joy Mode makes natural and science-backed wellness products for men. Their sexual performance booster is like a pre-workout, but for sex. If you're like me and you want to put only high quality things in your body that help it to perform at its best, Joy Mode has created a product that will support erection, firmness, and quality, supports sex drive, and supports healthy blood flow to the areas that need it most. It's very simple to use. All you do is mix one of these packets with water and drink it 5 hours to 45 minutes before sexual activity in order to experience that boost in the bedroom. Whether you're really happy with your sex life already and you just want to perform a little bit better, or you just want to make sure that your partner is getting the best of you possible, Joy Mode is like a pre-workout, but for the bedroom. I recommend that you check it out. They're offering a special 20% discount to subscribers of my channel. All you have to do is go to usejoymode.com/CaitlinV and enter CaitlinV at checkout. All right, that brings me to number 2, unpacking your baggage. Some of the most common issues that clients come to me with are things like being in a sexless marriage or dealing with premature ejaculation. And I'll tell you the same thing I tell all of them. We've got to get to the root of the problem. More often than not, these problems start way in a person's past, even before they showed up. Digging into your sexual history is a bit like excavating an archaeological site. You're gonna find artifacts from the past, things your parents said, cultural norms, even previous traumas that act as the foundation for your current problems. Take Sarah, for example. She was brought up in a conservative household where sex was taboo. She was taught that sex is for men and that women are pure, demure, and virginal. It's good for he, but not for thee, as they say. Overall, she was force-fed a heaping pile of shame from her parents about sex and any feelings that she had towards it. Parents sometimes teach us a lot of f***ed up things about what women like or are supposed to like or want or shouldn't want, and no doubt it was the same way that her parents were taught themselves. Because of this, Sarah, like Mark, was really only living half a life. Once she began exploring her sexuality, she was able to confront and, more importantly, heal those past wounds. It wasn't easy. At times, frankly, it sucked. But doing this allowed her to finally choose for herself how she, as an adult woman, wanted to live her life. Now she has big, explosive, earth-shattering orgasms with ease. So much so that her husband even installed some sound dampening pads on their walls, which I'm not mad about, and neither is he. Number 3, enjoying the ripple effect. Improving your sex life has been proven to have a positive effect on every other aspect of your life. And that's because sex is a part of who we are. As a result, it affects everything else. Sex is like nutrition. If you've been eating the same crap microwavable dinner for decades and you always feel icky, and then suddenly you switch to cooking and eating for yourself in a healthier way, by this time next year, you're gonna feel a lot different, right? Even if you don't notice the progress at first, sooner or later, you will be amazed by how far you've come. A client of mine, let's just call her Jane, is a perfect example. She knew that if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. Like the other clients I shared with you today, the confidence that Jane gained in the bedroom soon merged with other areas of her life. She went from running her team with resentment and communication breakdowns to leading her team to bust records at her company and be a lot closer and happier together. It was teaching her how to communicate, how to celebrate small wins, how to set and achieve goals. It made her a much better manager when she was able to take on what we were working on in our sessions into her job and, of course, her other relationships. Sure, we were talking about sex with her boyfriend at the time, yeah, but the lessons are the same no matter what relationship you apply them to. Kind of like 2 birds, 1 stone, or 1 vibrator, or whatever. Number 4, flow with creative energy. Sex is life force itself. It's how we all came to be. That's right, if not for your mom and dad having sex, you wouldn't be here now. Sorry, not sorry. You see, sex inspires art, it deepens relationships. The thing is that bad sex can be a source of self-loathing, of internal conflict, of jealousy. It can even fuel violence. And the reason is that sex is not just a physical act. For as evolved as we like to think we are, sex and desire and the need for it is so primal. It's ingrained in us on a level that it can consume our minds. And this factoring is true no matter where in the world you live or at what point in history you live. If you're not harnessing the creative power of sex to make your life into art, it can turn inward onto you and bring you to some nasty places. Just so we're clear, I'm also speaking from a very real and personal place. It was only through examining my own emotions that were being triggered in my romantic relationships and exploring those triggers that I finally reached a state of internal peace and maturity and overall happiness that I'm sitting here talking to you from. And thank God I did, because those triggers and the willingness to address them creatively and with pleasure ended up being the greatest fuel for my personal growth. And don't get me wrong, I've got a long way to go. And that's because sexual, mental, and emotional health are a journey, not a destination. But nothing worth having comes without some kind of fight and sacrifice. You've got to kick at the darkness until it bleeds daylight. Number 5, get to growing. After hearing everything I've said, you might be thinking, how can I start this journey? How can I break out of this shit shell I'm trapped in? Well, like I mentioned, you can apply for a free 1-hour consultation with me or a member of my coaching team in the link in the description to this video. Think of it like setting off on an exploration with an experienced guide. We help you look into the mirror, take a giant step inside of your mind, uncover the archaeological site that lays at your core. We'll also help you to treat sex and sexual health the same way that you would treat nutrition or exercise with a personal trainer. We'll help you to ensure you'll be as confident and successful outside of the bedroom as you are inside of the bedroom. And I should remind you and myself that personal development is not for everyone. And you know what? That's totally fine. It doesn't have to be. We all don't have to walk on fire with Tony Robbins to live a happy life. And it is tough to constantly be interrogating ourselves and always feel like we're on a treadmill of self-improvement. Trust me, from someone who's been on that treadmill for a long time. I must remember that there's nothing wrong with us. I mean, shame is such a terrible fuel for growth. It's highly pollutive and it's short-lived. However, when we start growing because we love ourselves and we prefer that to the alternative, that's where the ultra high efficiently, pleasure-driven, sunshine, 100% renewable kind of energy comes from. We only live once. If you look into improving your sex life, you can end up being the happiest, healthiest, most satisfied version of yourself and bringing that version of you to the people who you love the most. I'm Caitlin B. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you here next week. Happy growing.